Now, at this point, I have a pretty decent looking drawing that could be used in just black ink, like silk screened on a shirt with just one color or something like that. I did leave myself some notes here. If I were going to do that, there's a few things that I'd definitely change on here. Probably the main one is to put some whites in the eyes here. Um, but since that's not the goal of this project, I'm going to leave that for now. But I'm going to go ahead and save this out. Just do a save as, go with the same name I've been using here, Clint, and then maybe like an underscore and just black ink. So I can always go to that if I ever need it later on. And then I can go ahead and close this one, go back, open up file, open recent, go back to the one I was just on, and continue from here. Making sure that that is indeed the right file. Yeah, just hadn't saved it since I switched the layers off. But now the idea is to start to, I guess you could do it either way. You could work on the hair first and then the face. But let's work on the face. Before we get to colors, let's do it in just black and white, just a value study. But we want to save those colors out so that we can change them later to skin tones. So what I've decided that I'm going to do here, and I could change my mind, but at this point I feel like 3 colors in the hair, and that includes the eyebrows, will be fine. I want to go with a total of 5 different skin tones in the face and neck. So wherever there's skin, we're going to go with 5 different tones. Now here is important concept number 1 of this phase. Do not mix skin and hair because the hair is going to be a different color. Some of you have people with red hair. That's obviously going to be a different color than the skin tones. Now, in order to give me some help, like I made this posterized just to kind of help me with the hair, I'm going to go back into Photoshop and I'm going to make a brand new posterized one to help me with the face. So I'm going to go ahead, delete this. I'm going to go back into Photoshop and I can delete this guy here, delete this, and then let's just get rid of everything but the background layer. And then we'll do just like we said before, make a copy of that. And then what I'm going to do here is posterize this, but I want to actually make the black and white stick to this layer. So what I'm going to do is create a new adjustment layer for black and white. I don't want to just simply go up to, I could go to image and mode and change it to grayscale, but that would change the underlying one too. So to avoid getting too many different images, what I'm going to do is select the layer adjustment and the layer itself by shift clicking, just have them both selected. Go to the menu here and layers and select merge layer. So that'll merge the 2 layers that were selected, and now you can clearly see that this top one is in grayscale. Now I'm going to go to posterize and I'm going to try to get it to work with 6 colors in here. The reason for 6 is that 1 would be black, the other 3 would be for the skin. So we'll go up to image, adjustment, posterize, want to make sure the preview is selected, and we'll up this to 6 different colors. And that looks like it's probably going to work. It might be a little bit more work than I want to do, but it'll probably be worthwhile. Okay, so now that we've done that, let's just go ahead, file, save, because we've got our original background there. And then we'll do a file, save as, and here we'll just make a JPEG again. And you know what? I can just go ahead and save right over this one because we don't need that anymore. Feel free to make as many images as you want, but sometimes if I know I don't need anything, I'll just go ahead and write over it. And then we'll go back to Illustrator. And actually, had I not, um, let's see what's going on here. oh, that was just telling me that the underlying image, I actually have to go back and resave that because it got smart enough and updated it, but that's on top. That's okay. Let's take care of one thing at a time. So I'm going to make a new layer. This will be my posterized layer. And let's do a file place here. We'll grab that JPEG that we just saved out. And again, we're just going to put this on the side to help us, but I do want my original image back here, which means since that image is linked, what I have to do is just turn this top layer off and then File, save that again. When we go back to Illustrator, be smart enough to know that something was done there. Now the original one is back as it was saved. And then, now here's another important thing. Lock the layers that you don't want to draw on, right? So posterize, we're not going to draw on that. We're not going to draw on blacks anymore. That one's done. So let's create another layer here, and that should actually be above the black layer. So I'll drag it up there. If I would have had black selected, it would have put it on top anyway. So what we'll do is we'll call this skin 5. Now we're going to create 5 colors here for our skin. But first what I'm going to do is I'm going to click right here on the red color, go down here, hold down the shift button, click all the way to there, and hit delete. Or actually, let's try the trash can. There we go. Alright, so now we're down to a nice simple color palette, and I want to pick 5 colors, or 5 things that are going to become colors, but for now, let's keep them gray. Then that way we'll have a grayscale version, and then we can go back and easily change these grays to skin colors. So the best way to do that is by using, and I'll explain this as I'm doing it, I'm going to go up to this new, or the little drop down, and I'm going to click on new swatch, and the best way to do this is to make your colors global. So all we're going to do is make some global grays. So let's go from darkest to lightest. So we want a color that is not quite black to be our darkest of the skin tone. So it looks like probably 90% gray will get us there. And we'll keep doing that process till we have everything from the lightest to the darkest of colors. So let me pause this and I'll tell you what I came up with for my 5. So I ended up doing a 90% black, a 75, a 50, a 30, and a 10. So let's go ahead and put in, and what I want to do is kind of look over here at the posterized and look at the original so that I'm not just copying a posterized image. I want to make some artistic decisions. So I want to go ahead and put in the darkest color here. So now I got to make sure that I'm going to be on layer 5 or skin number 5. And here's an extremely important concept here is you never want to draw the same line twice here. So if I'm going to put in this darker area of skin here, it means I get a new fresh line here, but anything that overlaps on the hair, let's just sloppily put it in here, and then all we've got to do is bring this layer under blacks and it'll be fine. So best to show, I guess. So let's go ahead and just to start drawing it, we'll do it with a fill or a stroke and no fill. So let's say I'm gonna just follow right roughly along here, maybe leave a little bit for that piece of hair there. Won't worry about that one. But this is going to be my darkest skin color right along here. So this is all new lines, right? Everything, we're breaking new ground here, so to speak. Now when we go to come back up here, see how I'm in the black? I can be as sloppy as I want there. Come back up here like that. Follow around through here. Give that a little bit of shape. And now I'm into the black of the hair, and see how I can be sloppy. I can, whatever I want to do in here, I can do whatever it's quickest to get me back to where I want to be. Now, when we, let me properly close that. There we go. Now, when we flip this around and choose our darkest color to fill it, zoom out just a little bit here, you can see it doesn't quite look right there. But now if I go to my layers and I take this layer 5 and I bring it underneath the blacks, now I have that where I have a perfect edge, what I designed here, and the part that was sloppy is covered up by the black. So that's how you want to work. So what you're going to do is put in all the 5s, then you're going to put 4 right underneath it, go sloppy into the 4s. Now of course you will have to maybe come up with some layers on top afterwards, but let me go ahead, pause here, and put in as many skin color number 5s as I can. And again, I don't want to put any hair in this color, even though it would work in grayscale, but eventually we're going to change the skin colors to skin colors. So here's with all my skin color number 5. And you can see that this could make a nice grayscale image. Now I'll go in and start on number 4. So now I've created a layer for number 4 right there, which is under 5. And once again, I just want to go with a stroke just for drawing purposes. And just as we talked about before, here we can be real sloppy inside of the color underneath. And then once we get into the range where we're breaking new ground here, that's where we want to start being a little more careful. And I can even, back off here to maybe let like a strand of hair come in. And then anywhere I click where there's already been a color, there's no chance of that showing up later. And voila, we've got our first number 4 in there. So there's with skin tone number 4, the global gray put in. And now in the next video, I'll show you after I have maybe 3 and 2 put in, and then we'll have to make some decisions from there. I'm kind of thinking that since 4 or 5 represents the very darkest, for the next darkest, 3 is going to be what you'd consider the local color of the skin, and then 2 lighter, 1 even lighter, and then we may even just use the white of the paper for some of the very highlights, which aren't very evident here. We might have to turn a few layers on here. We might even have to take a little bit of artistic license, but we might be able to just pull out a spot in here, maybe here and here, here and here, probably there and there, that are supposed to be pure white. But stay tuned and we'll figure all that out.